10 two-minute rounds is too little time to differentiate who's better. They could fight 100 times in 10 twos, and it's always going to look like this. They're going to be back and forth, ebb and flow.
Welcome into Boxing Scene's top stories here on ProBox TV. Download the ProBox TV app. Never fall behind in your boxing news. Well, we had, of course, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, a terrible fight on a card that went to 60 million homes on Netflix. But fight of the night could certainly have been Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, a rematch of a fight that a lot of people consider the greatest women's fight of all time. From there's nowhere to go but down, right? Wrong. This fight, in a lot of people's eyes, topped even their first fight. A controversial, once again, victory for Taylor by decision. I have the panel here to help me. The champs, Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi, and also ESPN boxing analyst Timothy Bradley. Chris, let me start with you. How'd you score the fight? A lot of people scored it for Serrano. It went to Taylor. And what'd you think about it elevating women's boxing?
Right off the bat, I had Serrano winning that fight. Very, very close. Very, very close fight. And, you know, the cut, I think, played a major role in this fight. And I think if this was any other matchup, it would have been stopped early on. Because that cut happened pretty early. So if you stopped this fight in round 5 or 4 or 5 when it actually happened, because that thing was gnarly, Amanda Serrano wins. You know, she was ahead on the scorecards early on. Taylor came on strong at the end of the fight, just like she did in the first fight. But to me, the difference in this fight from the first one, Serrano noticeably slowed in the first fight. This one, she didn't. She actually changed up her pace a little bit to go punch for punch with Katie. Took a little bit of power off her shots because, man, Serrano can really punch. She hurt Katie both times they fought. This last fight, I think it was the 4th or the 5th round. This fight was the very first round. Serrano put those hands on her and had Taylor in some trouble right away. But regardless, it was a fantastic fight from the beginning to the end, back and forth stuff. But I'm going to bring this up like I always bring this up. When you have fighters at this level, female fighters at this level, 10 two-minute rounds is too little time to differentiate who's better. They could fight 100 times in 10 twos, and it's always going to look like this. They're going to be back and forth, ebb and flow. That extra minute on the round really separates the rounds to who's winning what part of that round. And we're not seeing that. I think that's something that needs to change. I think if they are going to have a third fight, they should do that if there is to be a third fight. But a fantastic fight through and through. But, I mean, razor close. Again, I think partially due to the time constraints.
When you look at it, Tim, did this elevate women's boxing to you? A lot of casual fans who don't watch a lot of women's boxing could be the fight between these two ladies, the two matches, could be the only ones they've ever seen. Did they come away impressed by women's boxing?
Hell yeah. Look, I was sitting at the soccer field yesterday, and I was just talking to some people, some casual fans, and they were talking about the fight. They said, oh, my God. I even had to turn away, especially because they were like, why were they zooming in on her eye like that? It looked so disgusting. But they said the fight was fire, and they couldn't wait to see them fight again. So, hell yeah, elevates women boxing. No doubt about it. When I scored the fight, I had it a draw. That's what I had it. I draw. But if somebody should have won that fight, and I thought that actually Katie Taylor was going to win the fight and actually get robbed going in. But I thought Serrano did enough to win the fight, if anything, man. But I had it a draw on my scorecard.
So, Tim, which way did you have it, Serrano or a draw?
Look, I had it a draw. But if I had to pick somebody, because it was razor close, right?
Yeah.
If I had to pick somebody, I thought that Serrano won the fight, especially because that point got taken away.
Yeah.
Especially because of that as well. So, but no argument from me. It is what it is. The fight happened. The decision was made. It is. I would love to see a third fight, no doubt about it. But
well, that's the thing.
Tim, how'd you score the first fight, Tim?
Which one? The first fight?
Their first fight.
First fight I had it for Taylor.
So first fight I had it a draw, but
I had it Taylor.
And this fight I had it Serrano.
This fight is interesting because of the point deduction. If you have it a draw at 5-5, it means that Serrano ends up winning the fight because of the point deduction. You know?
Yes.
When the fight ended, I've only watched the fight live with Chris on the live. I had Taylor winning the fight, but I mean, again, it's that kind of fight. It's close. I do think the commentary, from what I'm hearing, was very biased towards Serrano, so it made a lot of people feel like there was a robbery. Listen, it was close. Again, I don't have a problem with Serrano winning. I don't have a problem with Taylor winning.
Yeah.
I have a problem if they don't fight again, though. I want to see them fight again. You know, I
Yeah.
think women's boxing needs these kind of fights more and more, and they have really put women's boxing on their shoulders and really carried the sport a lot, and they've earned some very nice paydays, deservedly so, these two women, creating a masterful rivalry. This is probably something that could become maybe the trilogy for female boxing that become gets looked back on like Gotti Ward for the men. You know,
Morales, really higher level.
But champ, Chris, I want to say something with adding the extra minute. Maybe if you don't add the extra minute, because I don't think Taylor will ever go for the extra minute. Maybe we could add 20, 30 seconds. Or 2 rounds, yeah. But the thing is, even 2 rounds, every time you get that 1 minute rest and you go back and do another 2 minutes, it's a free for all. It's sort of total free for all. CompuBox sucks, by the way. And this fight proved it. Okay, you cannot count punches landing and not landing, especially when you got both sides going like this. What are you counting, bro? They're going both ways. Who are you watching? You can only watch one fighter at a time. You're gonna be playing Nintendo. You're gonna be driving yourself nuts. Obviously, whoever was counting the punches was looking at only Serrano because you can only watch one fighter at a time, mind you. You know what I mean? So it's the CompuBox. Fights like this are exactly why you shouldn't be using CompuBox, but that's another story for another day. I've been saying that for years. It really went backwards here as far as the influence it has on people. You know what I mean? It's not the only fight I've seen this where you have these kind of fights where the CompuBox sort of starts throwing people off here. I thought the fight was very close. Like I said, in real time, I thought Taylor won. I don't know. And honestly, I wouldn't have had a problem if Serrano won. I do think there's adjustments that need to be made by both women. I thought only Taylor made the adjustments. Serrano comes at you at one speed, meaning with her feet, one look. You got buttered in the first fight. You're gonna get buttered in the second fight. She still comes at you fully squared.
Hold up, Polly.
Go ahead.
Hold up. I hear you on that. However, that head clash and that cut changed her entire game plan because she was a lot more under control in the first part of the fight, right? She was under control. She was underneath her feet. She wasn't lunging. She wasn't taking a whole lot of chances. She was extremely precise with her punches, and I'm talking about Serrano. And she was winning early on. Yep. She was.
I thought she was too.
When she suffered that gash, she felt like she had to do more. So she started taking more chances. She started fighting. She started leaving openings.
Which, Tim, she had to, because if that goes to the scorecard, you want to win every round you can.
Exactly, because you don't know if the fight's going to get stopped.
Guys, you guys have done this just like I did this, okay? When you're coming forward, you got to change looks when somebody's butting you, especially.
I understand that.
Serrano is trying to get close. She's trying to be more controlled. She's trying to stick out her hand and not fully commit to the offense. But when you stick out your hand and don't fully commit to the offense, change your level. You'd stick out your hand. It can't be all like, okay, I'm going to get there, I'm going to throw hard, because then you're going to get one into a butt, especially that you're squared up. So Serrano wasn't fully doing that. She was trying to touch at first. But when you're touching, you've got to change your levels as well. So you're mixing up the ability for Katie to also butt you. Again, we're talking levels on top of levels on top of levels. And I don't know that the women in boxing have reached that kind of level yet to be thinking this many levels deep.
I think these two have, but they were both in warrior mode.
They have really, yeah, exactly. They were more in Gotti Ward mode. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. And honestly, I wouldn't have had a problem if Serrano won the fight either. So it would have actually forced more of a trilogy, because now Taylor can actually walk away from this. But I think there's going to be so much money in a trilogy, you may end up talking to her. Because like the $1 Million Man said, Ted DiBiase, everybody has a price.
Look, let's talk about the headbutt real quick. A lot of people think that it was intentional, right? It's not. I'm the headbutt king. Check me out. You okay? I lean forward. Look, I lean forward, and I don't bring my feet with me. And that's exactly what Katie Taylor does. She leans forward inside.
She jumps in. Yeah.
And then she brings her feet.
And it's a bad combination too, Tim, because Serrano is also a southpaw, so right-handed versus southpaw, right? So that hurts it more. And also, Serrano is front foot heavy. Yeah. Serrano boxes front foot heavy. So when you got somebody who lunges in with their head and you box front foot heavy, the first thing they catch is your face.
But then also, Katie is a combination puncher and Taylor is a puncher. So she's got to punch in the middle of Katie throwing. So you're going to get that head clash. Tim, I wonder. Speaking now, we got Tim here talking about your head. A lot of people are telling me, "Oh, Katie Taylor's a dirty fighter." I don't think so. She's just rough. I don't think Tim. I don't think you were a dirty fighter. You're just a rough guy. You got your head in there.
I just gave you the explanation of how I did it.
Yeah.
I would lean forward to close the distance, because the closer you are to your opponent, the safer you are. Right? You get your head inside. And then I would
tell that to Jake Paul
afterwards. That's what it was, and I didn't get my head off the line, and that's what it was. And the same thing with Katie. You
You may have not put your head off the line on purpose here and there, you know. I mean,
No. Look. I didn't do it. I didn't do it intentionally. I'm telling you, I didn't do it
But
intentionally. It was just
also,
my
Tim,
style.
I don't want to
hit
hit that big head of yours either. My hands would get hurt. I don't want to hit that. That's a problem too. Hitting someone high on the head.
But this is the problem that I have with Serrano. This is the problem that I have with Serrano and her team. They knew that Katie comes in that way, and they didn't prepare for it. They didn't.
That's what I said. That's what I've been telling you.
That's what Paulie's saying.
I feel like Tony Sirico in the movie Gotti when they announced him not guilty. That's what I've been telling you.
Well, one thing we can all agree on tactically is that it was a great fight and it deserves a trilogy. But as Paulie said, with the score now 2-0 for Katie Taylor, will she agree to a third one? That is the question. But it was a step up for women's boxing. We'd love to see a third one. And when it gets made, we'll make boxing news and we'll cover it right here on ProBox TV.
ProBox TV Contender Series. On December 7th, look for an all-out Irish war as Dylan the Real Deal Moran battles Tyrone the Mighty Count McKenna at the top of a stacked ProBox-worthy card.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.